Good evening. Welcome to the Newmarket Energy and Environment Advisory Committee meeting of August 27th. First item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. We have Julianne, Bill, Julia. And we have a new member from the planning board, Zach. I'll introduce him in a second. And we have Lindsay present. We don't have a quorum, so we'll skip the approval of the minutes. So with that, Zach's the planning board representative to the Energy and Environment Committee. I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit to the committee.
Yeah, so my name is Zach Schaller. I was voted in, I think, May or June, can't remember, was my first meeting this year. So only a few months been on it, kind of learning the ropes with that. But other than that, I've been a Newmarket resident since 2020. Live about a block or so away from here in this kind of neck of the woods of town. Pretty exciting. Engineer by trade, not a civil engineer, but engineer by trade. So just kind of get excited and learn a little bit more about this committee and what it's done. I know we just did the master plan chapter for this committee, so started to see a little bit of what you guys have been working on. So excited to kind of merge all that together, planning board and this.
Let me do two things. This is Lindsay Butler. I assume you know Lindsay, right? You don't know? Okay, you deal mainly with BART, I assume, then?
Yes.
On the planning board? Okay.
BART, yep.
Lindsay is the town engineer,
Okay.
and she's the town staff representative to our team. Okay.
Awesome. Happy to meet you, Lindsay.
Okay, just a quickie update where we are. So for the last couple of years, we've been working on a couple of things. Newmarket Community Power, which we finally launched March of last year. And the other thing was the master plan, the energy chapter of the master plan. So we finished those two things up, and we're kind of like, okay, getting ready to move into our next thing, which I think is going to be a recycling campaign, an educational campaign.
Okay.
As well as we have the solar project on Sewell Ave, or the Sewell Well project, okay? Lindsay's kind of spearheading that, and she would give us an update on that. So those are the kind of two things that we're working on right now. We do have ideas, or maybe for future solar projects, maybe getting something on the police station. We've talked about maybe doing something at the Public Works, and we've also thrown out the idea of maybe some battery power or whatever. But that's all we've done so far in any of that is just really kind of like, hey, here's an idea, maybe we can adjust that. So that being said, that's kind of like where we are. We're kind of like at a lull, starting to pick up again with, I could say, this recycling idea campaign.
Okay.
So on Lindsay's side, there's really kind of like two things I think that she's got going, right? The Sewell Well project and the coastal thing there. I forget what it's actually called.
The coastal.
Not. I'm sorry. I was thinking of the coastal resilience.
Riverfront.
The cohort thing.
The Soul Smart.
Right. Yeah.
Cohort. Yeah. So, did you want me to get into the updates on? So. Yep. For the Sewell Well site, I do have some updates. One, Eversource approved the interconnection application for the smaller array that Revision Energy had conceptualized and submitted the application for. So that is good news. It's a good step in the process. I think I mentioned at the previous meeting, I submitted a pre-application for funding from the state revolving fund, the Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. The project priority list, draft project priority list was released a couple of weeks ago, and this project did not get any offer of any funding. Newmarket had several, I should also point out, Newmarket had several projects that were submitted primarily from environmental services for the drinking water and wastewater systems, and I submitted a few under clean water for stormwater projects. So they can only fund so much, and this one did not get any offer. So I had a brief conversation with Sean Gregg, Director of Environmental Services, to discuss his thoughts on how we move this forward. And it was kind of a short conversation that the water department kind of has other priorities, meaning water tank storage, so we need to reevaluate. So I'm not sure where that's going right now. We need to have some more discussions about the financing, and also considering the fact that the tax incentive is going away. It changes the financial picture considerably. So there's sort of good update and sort of not good update, but still more to come on that as we discuss how that is going to look.
Okay, so funding looks questionable at this time.
Funding is questionable at this time.
Right.
We have a viable project for a ground-mounted array. The funding is the question, so we need to see how that fits in with other town priorities.
Two things. Eversource interconnect.
Yeah.
If we had the funding now, did they give a timetable of when?
The approval is valid for a year from now.
Okay.
And that's, I think, it's valid for getting our funding in order and deciding we're going to start the process by this time next year.
So I'm assuming that if we don't have things going off the ground by a year from now, you have to redo the application with them?
We may have to, yeah, because what may change in that time is other projects may be trying to connect on the grid in the same area, so they'll have to reevaluate and make sure that they have the capacity for it. I assume it would be a quicker process, because this time, I think the turnaround on the review of that interconnection was about 60 days or so. It was much shorter than revision initially anticipated, because we were looking at a much smaller array and it was a smaller application. So we may have to revisit it, but I'll find out more and get some clarification on that timeline from revision.
Okay, so kind of lost my thread. So, okay, so bottom line is we have to get some kind of funding commitment before we can really do anything else. And so is a presentation to this group kind of like on hold? I would suggest that we don't do anything.
And it's kind of, it hinges a little bit on Sean and because it's it's being funded through the Water Enterprise Fund. So
Right.
I have to coordinate that with him. The good news about having a viable project is that we can submit applications for other grant opportunities and seek other sources of funding. So as things come up, we have a project essentially shelf ready that we can just kind of take off the shelf and submit the application. We've got a lot of the outline and the preliminary work ready to go to submit. So I will have some additional discussion with our circuit rider from Clean Energy in New Hampshire, Katrin, and see what she knows of as far as opportunities that are coming out. And then if you and Scott hear of anything when you're at the conference in September, definitely send that information my way, and we'll see if we can't secure funding from some other sources.
How much are we talking with the smaller array here? Do we have
I forget the exact amount. It was between $400,000 and $500,000, so under $500,000.
Steve's not an option, huh? I'm sure he isn't. Okay.
So that's where the Soul Well project is at. The other ongoing activity, the Soul Smart cohort, is New Hampshire Soul Smart designation. Is a cohort of 30-something New Hampshire municipalities that went through this sort of technical assistance review, and we received some recommendations on modifications to our current regulations and ordinances to be more inclusive and accepting of solar arrays, ground-mounted solar array or solar projects in general. And I think I am correct. Bart is bringing this draft solar ordinance language to the planning board. Maybe you have heard yet or no? Okay.
I was at the end of, or whatever, it was 2 weeks ago meeting, so I don't know if they ended up getting to it, but Bart wasn't there, so I'm guessing no.
If he wasn't there, then no.
Yeah.
Because I think the intention then would be at the next planning board meeting will be a presentation of the draft language, because the part of the program was that the technical advisors and Clean Energy New Hampshire collectively put together a model ordinance. So there's model language that can be used, and we have that draft model language now. We can use that to customize for Newmarket and determine how that fits in our current ordinance and language, and where we want to modify to encourage more solar development. Encourage or allow in appropriate areas more solar development.
So to be clear, what the ordinance is basically allows for a solar array on a parcel of land, and it doesn't have to be attached to a house or something, right? That's what this is for?
That would be something to consider moving towards if the town of Newmarket wants to allow that in certain areas. Yes, because currently that's not allowed. Our current ordinance and regulation says only accessory
Is
uses.
that what Bart's bringing?
That's part of the model ordinance, yes.
Okay.
The language, the model ordinance language. So I think my understanding from Bart's outline of the steps to go through would be, he mentions this model ordinance, discusses this possibility with the planning board. Planning board will likely want the Energy and Environment Committee to review this model ordinance language and have some input and discussion on how that fits with town goals, and then it would end up going back to planning board, because ultimately it would be regulation and ordinance updates that planning board would have to adopt. So that'll be something that comes in the coming months. I'm not sure how soon. I know Bart's been very busy with the master plan process, as well as all the planning board members. So,
That's very time consuming on our agenda.
yeah, so the good news is we got through the training and technical assistance piece of it. We know areas of our current ordinance we want to address, and we have some model language to use to formulate that and draft that. It's just making time for Bart, for planning entities to go through that.
Yeah, if that's how it would play out. Let's say he brings it the next meeting, early September. We say, sure, that sounds like a good idea. Kick it to us here to consider. Then it would go back to us for some kind of draft language. Yeah, and then eventually it'd have to go to town council to actually be approved. So definitely not something that would be in the next couple months. It'd be probably at least 3 to 4 months before that would even get voted on, I would think.
But hopefully, within the next few months, we'll have some opportunities to view that draft language and kind of provide some input and comments here.
Yeah, I think we haven't talked too much about that kind of solar array other than the Sewell well project, but I think generally there's interest in exploring that.
That's good. Okay.
I've been approached by some other people, and they're talking about, they would like to see like solar arrays over the parking lot, the school parking lot or whatever. My opinion is that maybe we should prioritize how we think things should go. Is that seem like a reasonable thing to do? To me, I have in my mind that after Sewell Well will be kind of like a learning project for us. To me, the next logical thing would be at the Public Works, adding there, and if we really can, somehow do some kind of battery storage there and do a connection there. I don't know, am I going too far ahead of things, or is that reasonable for us to start looking at and proposing?
I would say that's absolutely reasonable, and it may be worthwhile to review something like that with the folks from Revision. I can ask them a few questions and see if that's something maybe they could come here and talk about what those options are and just provide some general input. They've said, at least for what you've mentioned here, the primary options for solar development are roof-mounted, ground-mounted, or roof-mounted, ground-mounted, and then canopy style, like what would happen over a parking lot area. So in terms of overall magnitude of cost for those three different options, roof-mounted is the cheapest because you often have an existing structure. It streamlines the process of getting the array there. And then the way it was described to me from Revision was consider, if you're looking at three different projects, those different types, all the same size system, the roof mounted is X dollars. The ground mounted would be maybe 1X or 2X in terms of more money. And then canopy style tends to be like maybe 5X, being the more expensive way to go.
That was my comment to them, and these are from other counselors, by the way, okay, is that it's much more expensive. Plus, it also, too, I think it exponentially adds to the maintenance type of issues. So, okay.
And
So,
it can be feasible when you are also, like, if the school were looking to add a roof-mounted array and do the canopy, then it's kind of an add-on to the project, and it's not a standalone. The cost isn't as huge of an impact, then you get the greater benefit of the large roof array and then get the canopy with it. So there are options like that can make it a more palatable addition or installation, I guess.
so just for everybody, the school has looked at a roof array, and they ruled it out because it's too heavy. The building, both the elementary and the high school, can't support it.
Yep.
So, okay.
That's currently why DPW does not have a roof-mounted array.
Oh, really?
The roof structure of the public works. We do have an array on the fire station, so that everybody knows that. But it was designed intentionally to fit the fire station roof and not cover the whole DPW as well. DPW would be much larger, and that would be great. But the roof structure there was evaluated and is not, would not support currently a roof-mounted array.
I didn't know that. I thought.
So the roof would need to be reinforced and or replaced. It kind of needs to be replaced in the coming years anyway.
I was going to say, it sounds more like capital improvements, where it's like,
It
this
is.
is something we want, we should publicize that now so they can start budgeting it in
Yeah.
and or submitting things to town for vote on changing
And-
budgets.
That's a great idea with the capital improvement portion too, and knowing that we have the facility study that identified some addition and renovation at Town Hall and the police department, and the question of solar was asked at that time, and kind of identifying that those would be desired elements of those projects is important to work into there, and capital improvement planning that could be worked in, important feature there.
Yeah, I think it just kind of goes to what are the trade-offs we're looking for if we're trying to make a buck for the town, or are we just trying to kind of offset some of the electricity usage, better the environment? Because I think if you integrate it into the redesign or rebuilding of the roofs and stuff, it's going to add more to that cost, but it should lessen the at least usage of that building over time and maintenance cost.
To me, it's not about making money, it's to offset electricity. Okay, that's news to me, because that throws a kink in everything.
It slows things. It's a hurdle, yes, but it's it could be, the roof could be replaced and reinforced so that it is strong enough, structurally strong enough to support a roof-mounted array there. So it could be added. It just would require the roof being addressed first.
Okay. Here's how I had it in my mind. The Sewell Well project would be kind of like a learning thing. I was hoping it would be a little bit bigger than it is going to be, but at least we have a plan there. We don't have any funding, but we have a plan. Then I was thinking the next thing would be the Public Works Department. Then the next thing would be the senior center. I think they've already done a study and that's doable there, a small array. And then, yeah, we know on the police station they want to do some improvements to the police station. That would be a good opportunity to get that one there. And then, pretty much we have the town facilities more or less covered. Not all of them, but.
But the big users, so looking at the facilities that use the most amount of electricity, it's those ones you just,
Yeah, and then
It's
the town hall again.
police
they wanna
department, town hall, and public works department are all pretty equivalent right now, using about the same every month. The wastewater and water systems are the huge users. Understandably, those are industrial.
Those would definitely be a challenge. So they're running around the clock, probably pretty heavy electricity usage.
Most of them are, yeah. And the wastewater treatment facility by far uses the most. It's the biggest facility. It's right on the Lamprey River and really doesn't have a lot of real estate for solar energy. So alternative energy sources may be options.
Wind or what? When you say alternative, you think of the dam?
I don't, no hydro. I wasn't thinking that. I don't have anything specific in mind or intention. Just.
No, you probably have to couple it with a battery system if they're able to size it such that you don't have to use all of the days during the day, all the electricity, but I still would imagine that they can't size, especially if it's a roof size of the building. I doubt they could get enough solars on there to power the entire structure the whole day. Doesn't seem likely.
And the school, I didn't throw them in, but they're the other. Wastewater, water, and the school are the biggest, and then when it comes to just town facilities, PD, town hall, and public works.
Okay, all right. So we I don't know, kind of have an idea maybe where we might go, but the bottom line is the next thing really is funding for Sewell Well.
Yep.
What can be done before we can do really anything else, right? Is that
Correct.
okay? So I think we're looking at a year just before we do anything beyond Sewell Well. Does that seem
Possibly,
reasonable?
unless there are other,
Start looking at wastewater, maybe?
I would say yes, having more conversations of alternative energy sourcing options for wastewater and water. And I've talked to Sean about some of those things, and he certainly is on board with considering anything as we pursued with the Sewell Well, and we were hoping it could be a larger system that would offset the cost not only at the sewer well, but could have been credited to the account at the wastewater facility, and it would be huge. We just don't have anything identified yet, so.
Yeah, I'll take that back because we haven't done the chapter of the master plan for capital improvements yet. I know in this chapter we kind of talked to other energy sources, and we had mentioned at the time that there's some interplay there in the other chapters that we'll need to revisit, but can definitely flag that as these town structures come up for new roofs or other things. I think we can kind of show the town like this is something we want to consider at the time and start planting that seed, and it'll just be kind of a ongoing process. Obviously, doing it that way instead of just a one big, we can do it. As far as the sewer well thing, I do want to ask, because we had to go smaller project, and there was something about wetlands I remember reading in the last minutes. Is that state statute that's kind of governing the wetland usage there, or is it a town ordinance? Because if it's a town thing, not saying it could happen, but we could revisit how that is allowed to go forward in the wetlands.
Yeah, it's more a state and federal because its actual jurisdictional wetlands are more of the field than was anticipated. So it's not necessarily even we want to stay away from or keep a long buffer. It's that we can't actually build on that because it's the wetland.
Okay, I wasn't sure because that's been coming up more lately. Is the wetlands usage? We've had more projects come to us with going in primary wetland, primary wetlands, and other issues. So I think that's coming up more as a topic. And we also, next month, are supposed to get an update to the wetland study from Mark West, I saw in our minutes.
Oh, yeah, the prime wetland delineation, yep.
So that may also inform what site options we have available to us. So that's kind of all kind of changing a little bit right now as well.
Okay, so I guess the bottom line is at this point we kind of take a step back and wait, or sit back and wait, see what we come up with.
Yeah, and any ideas that come up of things we should consider or look into, send my way, and we can have conversations with various departments as needed. And I think just in general, ensuring that as we look at upgrading facilities, we are pushing to incorporate energy efficient upgrades as much as possible.
Okay. All right. I think we beat that to death. Community power update. I don't have any updates on community power right now. The new rates went into effect August 1st. So next month, beginning September, we should have some figures as to, since the rate is higher than Eversource by about 2 cents, we'll have a better feeling for how many people have bailed. Also, July and August, beginning of August, had some pretty hot days. We'll have a better feel for how much electricity was used in the town and where we stand as far as reserves go. So that's kind of on hold. We'll have something next month. Backyard bash. So we had the backyard bash. We did a little thing about recycling. Try to do some education, and I'll turn that over to you. What do you think went good? What bad? What can we do next time?
So what went well, I think, was that we had a little game. So we kind of turned the recycling and trash decision into a game to attract children and their parents. And we were also pulling people in. Hey, come on over here, win, da-da-da-da-da-da. So I liked that idea. I think the prizes should be candy next year. Probably the dentists out there listening to this don't agree. But candy seems to be very popular. Also, if we want to tie in something where we can slip some, like whatever our campaign was going to be, slide that into the hands of the parents. Like whether it's a magnet for the refrigerator door or something where we slip some education to the adults. Although, I got to tell you, I'm quite impressed with what the kids knew from the adults already. Very impressed. But I was thinking if we want to, if we have ideas for public campaigns, whatever those ideas are, we can weave that into it next year. And if we are going to do something like this or something else, anything to do with this group in a number of future years, we could think about getting like a professional looking banner that says environment and energy, or energy and environment, something that we can use year after year so it doesn't identify like a specific subject. It doesn't identify recycling or community power. It just is us, so that we can switch it up. Because I know that I used markers, but I think it was kids' washable markers, and all the markers are probably coming off on the way out. But I was like, okay, it just needs to survive tonight. What else went well and would be done differently? A lot of it was like cardboard and homemade. I would make it a little bit more professional in the future. like have a plastic bin for the cards. Basically, the kids and or the adults, we were using. We had samples of the trash, but they were using the cards and putting them in trays when deciding if something was going to be recycled or thrown out. So, and it was like a cardboard tray. Like in the future, I would want like a hard plastic, like a little tiny mini recycle bin and a little tiny mini orange trash.
I kind of thought of that too, that if those cards had the word on it in a picture of what the
picture,
thing,
yes.
as opposed to you having, the actual
Perfect.
thing, so that might have been a little bit
Perfect,
easier.
yes. Yes, absolutely. Like if we go that route in the future, those are definitely the changes.
So, better prizes and more professional
Yeah,
look.
yeah,
If-
and I
If we were
think-
to do that, but who knows what we might be
Yeah,
doing next year.
yeah, you're right.
If
And,
we
and
just-
weights, we needed rocks for weights to hold stuff down in the wind. But maybe we wouldn't be struggling with that as much because we wouldn't have the pieces of trash flying.
Yeah. that was-
Did you get a lot of people that tried the game?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I would say a lot. I mean, there was normally a kind of steady stream. I mean, we also had gaps that we could chat with each other, but it wasn't just like a couple of hours of dead. I don't know.
No, I think it was fairly steady. I mean, it wasn't,
Yeah.
we didn't have a line like the candy places had lines. We had people that they grabbed them as they were walking by, type of thing.
And
Yeah.
the people that did the game, would you say generally got more right than wrong?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Definitely.
And, we gave away all the water bottles, so it worked out good.
Yeah. And the plastic, I'm just writing down the improvements. Plastics for bins. Yeah, and then, a few unintended things, like we had like the sample orange trash bin or the sample recycle bin, people didn't know were samples, so
Oh.
they would go around, oh, there's a recycle bin. Which I don't really blame them for, we had it sitting out there. So, yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. And maybe we could have, now that we're just thinking about this, T-shirts for us that says the name of our group. Something where we all match. The 3 of us or 4 of us there will match. And they will see us and know who we represent. But given that we didn't have all that, it was fun, and
Yeah.
it was, we had a good time.
I think Amy had written that it was, the largest attended one so far. I think that
Okay,
So-
cool.
worked out.
So the candy should bring in even more.
Okay. So the next thing that we are tackling, I think, is the Reduce, Reuse, Recycle campaign. Okay. One of the things I was thinking is we have the Energy and Environment Town website. How would you two guys like to? I did talk briefly with Tim, the media manager, about this, and he said we can do whatever we want on this webpage. Bring it to him, and if he can work it in, he can work it in. If he can't, he'll suggest how to do it. So
Okay.
I don't know if there's areas for links or whatever. I was thinking somehow if we could link to what's recyclable, what isn't recyclable. I saw something on a post on Facebook this week. Somebody was asking, can they bring styrofoam to the, can they recycle styrofoam? And they said they went on the town website and didn't see anything about that. And, would you two guys like to volunteer to see what you can come up with for the website?
Information?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a recycling website, you thought. And that's,
I don't know. I kind of thinking in my mind like a PDF or something, right?
yeah,
That we can give to Tim and have him link to it.
Have you seen Casella has flyers, we
Mhm.
could share some of their flyers as a starting point.
Yep.
Links to their PDF flyers that have like the nice graphics of this is recyclable, these should not be in recycling kind of things.
Yeah, I definitely think there's recycling is not new, so I definitely think there's probably lots of good
Materials.
media out there to link to. So I think that's definitely something that we can provide to them. The other thought I had was, since you have this whole outreach with the kids at the backyard bash, I think that's a good idea. I don't know if it's something where we could somehow like elicit the school, whether it's a science class or something, to kind of come up with a contest or a project. If you wanted to kind of expand on that whole educational thing.
We've
Or-
talked about using somehow, I haven't approached Todd Allen yet about it, but he's been very good about, the superintendent's been very good about, hey, if you got something that you want us to do, let us know, I'll point you to the right teacher or whatever, or the advisor, and you guys can maybe work something out.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something where you could, like, what do you think would be what's a great website look like for kids or something to help them? Be surprised what kids can come up with, pretty creative. The other
So,
thing,
to answer your question, yeah, I could volunteer to sketch out some ideas for the next meeting.
Yeah, what I was thinking is that not just the PDF of like what Casella has, but also some kind of write-up about the campaign itself, reuse, reduce, reuse, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, maybe you have a link here that says reduce, reuse, reuse, recycle
Yeah.
campaign, blah, 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 and then it points to the PDFs or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like kind of what she was saying about the styrofoam thing, it might be fun to have kind of like a recycling myths, like almost like a fun facts, but also like, because I feel like there's a lot of things people assume something. Pizza boxes, right, is a classic example. People think it's one thing, and usually it's not the thing they think it is. And so there might be like
pizza boxes not recyclable?
Um,
I thought they were.
depends. The grease is an issue.
Ah.
Yeah, the food
It's
and
not
stuff is just handmade.
cardboard. Yeah, I see.
See, myths, recycling
Yeah.
myths.
Yeah, they love
But I gotta tell you, the
cardboard and aluminum.
styrofoam
They
kids
don't-
got that right, and the adults.
So Joe,
Yeah.
didn't we talk last time maybe about, would Capella send out some kind of a mailing to all of the customers that, or something that can go on the refrigerator or by the recycle bin or something?
Yeah, I did not approach Casella about that, but I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's issues
Online
that
stuff
they're-
is great, but not everybody's gonna do it. Not everybody's gonna go online, no matter how appealing the page and the link is.
Yeah, also, I don't know if that, to that point of our vendor, I don't know if they're having any issues or anything. It's also kind of an opportunity for us to provide kind of a public service announcement if they're seeing a trend, or people keep wanting to throw away something that they're not taking. I don't know, they always take my recycling, so, but I don't know if there's like a
We
problem
had
they have.
Casella come here and actually give us a presentation, and Newmarket actually currently does very good.
Oh, excellent.
Other than Dover, we're very high when it comes to recycling and keeping stuff out of the solid waste.
Sweet. Well, that's good to know.
They had some good statistics, and then within that, the recycled materials, it gets mixed in with other towns, so they can't narrow it down to just Newmarket. But overall, the stuff that does go into recycling is pretty good. Like 70%, 80% of it is recyclable.
That's
So,
good.
yeah, I'll approach them. I suspect that they're going to say, well, we don't know, we don't have a mailing list of Newmarket customers. I don't know, maybe they'll say if you give us the list, we might do something. But,
Yeah, just a thought, just kind of holistic, coming at it from the different facets of it.
but if you guys can come out with some kind of like a sketch or an idea of what you want, and we can give it to Tim and present it to him. I think I had in there too some other thoughts. Maybe when you guys are doing this, what to put on the website, that we can kind of figure out, okay, how can we do, I don't know, how can we bring in kids or something from the school get them involved so that they can give it to their parents.
Yeah.
Like that. Something that we've talked about before, do we want to perhaps maybe talk to Rick or do something at the transfer station to have a separate bin for aluminum? Is that?
What would be the advantage?
Um,
Or I guess why?
Right
why
now, if you look in
separate?
that, if you look in the recycling thing, I don't know, I see cans and aluminum is very definitely easily recyclable. So one of the things I guess we were thinking about is, what if we have people separate out the aluminum from all the other stuff? If you look in the bin at the transfer station, there's cardboard in there. You know, it's supposed to be bottles and glass and cans and stuff like that. But there's all sorts of stuff in there. Recyclable probably, but you know, my understanding is Casella has some pretty sophisticated ways of breaking that all out. So it may not be worth doing that, but you know, like I said, where aluminum is easily recyclable, if we had a separate bin just for aluminum, might that be of any value?
Yeah, I feel like in the past the single stream seems to make people recycle more because it takes the thought out of it. They're just like, oh, just put it in the bin, put it in the bin. When you try to go to the different streams at the user point, then it seems like they don't spend as much time doing the segregation part on their end. They'll just throw it in the single stream trash can. So I don't know how much difference it'll make at the transfer station, because I think they're just going to take everything in bulk. Except for like when you do the whole, you get 5 cents back on a can. Then people seem to go through the trouble. But you know, New Hampshire doesn't do the thing back. So
Deposit thing.
yeah, I just don't know if that's really gonna change people's behaviors unless there's some kind of incentive behind doing the segregation on their end.
Well, these are just kind of ideas for you guys. I don't know, to think about what can we do. Are there anything else that you can think of that might be worth linking in or putting in on the website as for the start anyway?
It's not quite recycling, but similar concept. I know in a lot of places they're playing around with community composting or composting programs. Is that something that the town's ever looked into?
They do have a separate compost, a couple of bins for composting.
Mr.
Yep.
Fox composting
Never
service?
even really looked at it. Okay.
There are 3 bins at the transfer station that they take all organic waste.
So is that something we want to like kind of add to the campaign of is that like used well? Is there
It is pretty well used.
okay?
Yep.
They started with 1 bin. They got 3 bins now
Nice.
down there. You know, they're just big trash barrels. But
Okay.
again, maybe that's something else too that you can have in there. You know, highlight the transfer station. Hey, we have a compost recycling area. You can. There's a whole area for brush and whatever. There's a burn pit down there.
Is there anything online currently? And I know this sounds kind of ignorant, but like I never go to the transfer station, so this is all kind of foreign to me, and I don't know how many other people it might be foreign to, like brush, you know, like I didn't know that, or burning, I didn't know that. The compost, I definitely did not know.
Yeah, I mean I've been there, you know, a handful of times. I feel like in
Yeah.
the past couple of years, and
Like, I've gone there maybe 3 times with a bunch of crap in my car, and I just say, how much to throw out all this? They throw out a number like $10, and I pay it and dump. Like, that's the extent of my knowledge. Is there like anything online that describes, or on the town's website that
Town has
describes all these
it
different?
has a pricing sheet
Yeah,
for the
it-
different
it does.
categories. So
There is?
I just ended up searching for it because I can never remember where it's at. But
I've been updating this recently.
okay.
Oh, have you? I gotta check it out.
This will be a fun experience. Hopefully it all looks
Oh,
So,
really?
yeah, you do have the transfer station, it's got the hours of operations, there's a fee for like appliances and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
Brush is mentioned.
Oh,
We
yeah.
do. But we do not mention Mr. Fox. I'm actually gonna add a separate page for that.
For what?
We don't mention the Mr. Fox composting
Hmm?
yet. It, I know we have like posts, flyers around about it, but, I will add a page for this.
Oh, so, okay, so you're gonna, okay, I was thinking, hey, maybe we need a whole thing on,
I think
did
it
you,
would still be good for the committee to have
did
maybe
you?
a blurb about it, and then a redirect to the page under Public Works that has that info,
Okay.
where it can have more detail, but then the committee can still provide a way to highlight that, and people that are looking can become more aware if they're looking at what does this committee do and what kind of things are you involved in. The ways to kind of point to other department activities and things could be a good way to just redirect.
So on our page, if we have, just thinking out loud here, reduce, reuse, recycle, blah, 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 here's the things that are recyclable. And then for, more information on the transfer station,
Yeah.
you link to the transfer station,
Yeah, I like that idea.
and you also, can also mention composting, but then point to the town side there.
Yeah, it's kind of
I don't want to step on,
It's not.
have conflicting information and step on
I
somebody's
think that's
toes.
why you kind of
Right,
link out.
and the transfer station information, like we're responsible for maintaining and keeping up to date on the fees and things here, so that's why it lives here. So the pointing to this, but highlighting the importance and where to find that info, committee should absolutely
Yeah.
put something together on that. I don't think it's duplicating anything, it's just kind of saying, here, find out more, go there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Promotion and then kind of the connection aspect of it. This is why it's important to do, and oh, by the way, this is how you do it in your town.
Well, again, if you two guys can kind of like brainstorm and say, hey, here's it.
Who's the you guys?
Hmm?
You and me? Okay.
Oh, I was thinking you and Julia, well, no, exactly.
Oh.
If you want,
I'll send some ideas.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I feel like I just already gave one.
we'll all do that.
As I was thinking of them, stream of conscious.
We'll all
I
do
gotta let it marinate my brains to think about other things.
Yeah, I think links are the big thing. A little blurb, but then links. Nowadays, search engines, all that stuff. There's a lot out there that already has done the work for you, and it's just kind of making sense of all that and giving people the kind of go here and here and here, and seems to be the way a lot of websites are going.
Yeah.
okay, all right, so that's it. One of the next thing, Scott and I are going to a local energy conference in Manchester on the 25th. So I think our next meeting is before that. August, September.
Maybe.
Yeah. Our next meeting is the 24th, and then, so we're up the 25th, so,
You did receive the ticket for that, right?
yes,
'Cause
it
I'm-
is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I have him, and he's got them. It says I have two. Now, I don't know whether I have the two and he has two, or whether,
No, I asked about that because I was confused. It's, the town gets two, so it says it's two, but it's two separate tickets that went to the separate emails. So it should just be one for you, even though it says two. It's just using the town's two.
yeah, it had
tickets.
one number, okay,
Yeah.
okay, all right, that's fine. All right. Anything else, whatever?
So I guess, is there anything, now that I'm, from planning board assigned here, is there anything that you guys would like me to bring up to planning board for their attention? I know I already have a few things written down as we're talking, but was there anything else?
I think at this point, the only thing is you maybe, brief them on what's happening with the Sewell well, and
Yep.
that we have in the back of our mind that we're looking at maybe doing some stuff at the the DPW of a fire station, and you know, we'd like to consider when the facilities are updated for the police in the town hall, that, you know, we take into consideration some solar there, and then I guess you got, Bart's already working with you guys on the ordinance there. Right?
Yep.
So those are the only real, and maybe you can just tell them we're gonna start a campaign on recycling and whatever.
Yep. All right. Will do.
Anything else? Questions, comments? No? All right, next meeting will be September 24th. Same time, same place, right? All right. Thank you.